Dražen Petrovic is.
Petrovic, oh Lord.
Man, and I tell people this, you know, Curry is the GOAT of all shooters. You know, look, I'll give him all that. But before him, man, you could be this close to the mic. You could be this close to him.
Didn't matter.
And not only is he giving it off, he's telling you about it too.
Oh, you talking shit to you?
What?
You have good English or broken English?
Broken good English. Oh.
Yeah, you don't know what the he's saying, but he head just bobbing. He's talking.
Giving it to you.
Killing you.
Giving it to you.
Every now and then, we get athletes who change the fabric of the game they play. In basketball, one of those players is Steph Curry, the clinical three-point scoring machine who went against the grain and changed modern basketball as we know it. But before him, there was someone else, another electric superstar who thrived from deep, but never got the opportunity to fulfill his legacy and impact the game to its fullest potential. Forget Jordan, forget LeBron, forget Steph Curry. Dražen Petrović is the hardest player to guard in NBA history.
Dražen Petrović. I really don't like to get that a lot of props, but that is the me. More than Mike. I'd rather guard Michael than guard Dražen Petrović. That was something else. I used to tell Rudy T, treat this like you treat Mike. He come out the game, bring my out the game. When he come to the goddamn table, let me meet him at the table. I don't want nobody guarding this because it can get going real quick, and it's gonna be hard to cut this water off. One night he didn't do that. Oh my goodness, this mother was in Houston. He talked, that bitch talked with his head. He don't say shit. I said, oh, this done got fired. That mother lit one of them up. I ain't gonna say nobody's names, but I love all my teammates, fucking Rockets. So he got them motherfuckers going. And they put me back in there trying to cut off the water. Boy, I couldn't do it. They used to run that off 3-4 screens. I have to chase this mother. He catch that this way, spread out this way in the air and just bang, threes. This mother was unbelievable, man. This guy would have been so special, man.
Dražen Petrović is a name that you might not be familiar with, but he plays a big role in the history of basketball. He single-handedly changed the way the NBA viewed European players, and yes, many would rather take on Jordan or Steph Curry in isolation than Dražen. Before he was giving NBA players nightmares, Dražen grew up in the small coastal town of Šibenik, Yugoslavia. Basketball was always going to be a big part of his life, with young Dražen expected to follow in the footsteps of his older brother, Alexander, who developed into one of the top point guards in the nation. The younger brother quickly developed a natural feel for basketball, often joining Alexander on makeshift courts, where he learned the game and sharpened his skills. As it turns out, his skill set was pretty impressive, leading him to represent the local Šibenka team by the age of 13 and the Yugoslavian junior national team by the age of 15. By now, he was also being selected for the Šibenka first team, where, even as a 15-year-old, he was a standout talent, helping them reach the final of the FIBA Korac Cup twice. As an 18-year-old, he led the team to the Yugoslav League finals, notching 24.5 points per game to confirm his rise to elite status. The bottom line was, Dražen Petrović was ready for a tougher test, but before he could upgrade his basketball competition level, he had to complete 1 year of mandatory service in the Yugoslav military. It wasn't the easiest rise to basketball prominence that you could ask for, but Petrović was prepared. He was no stranger to hard work, insisting on playing with older men as a youngster, and earning a reputation for heading to the gym to get a couple of hundred shots up after long, overnight bus journeys home from national training camps. The kid was a force to be reckoned with, so when he got his military service out of the way and was ready to get back on the court, the results were spectacular. He joined forces with his brother at Cibona Zagreb for the 1984 and 85 season, where his 32.5 points per game promptly helped his team secure a Yugoslav League championship and the Yugoslav National Cup title. He also toured up in the Euro League, dropping 44 points against Real Madrid before pouring in 36 points against Madrid again in the 1985 Euro League final, giving Cibona Zagreb their first ever top-tier European champions title. Petrovic nabbed 30.9 points per game in EuroLeague competition to help make that happen. Thanks to Petrovic's excellence, the team repeated their success 1 year later, confirming their status as a dominant force in European club basketball. No part of the court was off limits for Dražen as a shooter, with him improving to 37 points per game in EuroLeague play, in addition to 41.4 points per game and another title in the Yugoslav National Cup. No game proved his dominance more than a 112-point outing against the Slovenian team Union Olimpija. Here, Dražen set a new Yugoslav League record with a whopping 112 points, shooting 40 of 60 attempts from the field, including 10 three-pointers and all 22 attempts from the free throw line. Admittedly, this did come against youth players. An administrative error by the Olimpija front office rendered their entire first team ineligible, but still, 112 points is an outrageous number, regardless of the opponents. By now, fans were flocking to Dražen Petrovic's games. Every home game would host 12,000 of them, and his international acclaim was growing. One Italian sports journalist, Enrico Campana, referred to him as basketball's Mozart. Such was the beauty of his play. Also, the controversial nature of his personality on the court. To put it simply, he liked to wind up his opponents and made a few enemies along the way. More important than what journalists and his peers thought of him, though, was his freakish ability on the court. His natural, ambidextrous fluidity added flair to his game, and according to former NBA director Marty Blake, he was a true shooter who handles the ball like Jim Paxson and Otis Birdsong. With praise like that, surely it was just a matter of time before NBA teams came calling. Indeed, they did. The Portland Trail Blazers drafted Dražen Petrovic 60th overall in the 1986 NBA draft. However, Yugoslavian rules at the time insisted that athletes couldn't play professionally abroad until they were 28 years old. Thankfully, Petrovic did find a way around these restrictive rules, but it'd be a few years before he could first don the Trailblazers jersey. While he waited, he kept himself busy, continuing to rack up points and trophies in the Yugoslav and Euro leagues. He was also making a name for himself on the international stage, securing a silver medal in the 1988 Seoul Olympics, as well as bronze and gold medals in the 1987 and 1989 FIBA Eurobasket competitions. He would go on to have more success with the Croatian national team later in his career as well, after the Balkan War-inflicted split of the country. By the late 1980s, Dražen was wasting away in Yugoslavia. He was clearly a far superior talent than his peers and desperate for another upgrade. This desperation led him and his agent, Jose Antonio Arizaga, to look into ways to bend the rules. To explain how they did that, I think it's best to rely directly on the words of Arizaga. He told Diario AS's Alejandro Delmas, "I spoke to Mirko Novosel, Dražen's head coach at Cibona, and he told me two things. One, every problem in Yugoslavia can be taken care of with the right amount of money. And two, if Dražen leaves, every other player under 28 will be leaving, and it'll be chaos. So you can imagine all the individuals I had to bribe and all the places where I had to pay up in order to circumvent this law." So with the shady dealings done, Dražen Petrovic joined forces with Real Madrid in another move that proved immediately profitable. Madrid won the 1987 Spanish Kings Cup title and almost won the Spanish ACB League's finals. He once again proved himself to be a menace from all over the court, pouring in 28.2 points per game, which made him the league's top scorer. Despite losing in the finals of the Spanish ACB League, Dražen still took some pride in setting new single-game finals records for most points with 42 and most three-pointers made with 8. Having dominated so consistently in Spain, Dražen once again found himself in search of tougher opposition. It had been the one common trend throughout his career, and with him now approaching his age 25 season, it was finally time for him to head to America and join the Trailblazers. This was a significant moment for modern basketball. Up until now, European players were looked down upon by NBA players, coaches, and executives. Dražen was a chance to reset that narrative. There was no doubt that his offensive skill set was impressive. but there were serious concerns about his defensive ability. He genuinely seemed to believe that his shooting was so good that he didn't need to play defense at all. Obviously, that's not going to fly with NBA coaches, leading the Yugoslavian to have a frustrating start to life in the league. He averaged just 12.6 minutes per game on a very talented Trailblazers roster, often sitting out entire games. When he was sent onto the court, it was strictly to set up behind the line, wait for the ball, and shoot immediately when it came. Portland had no interest in utilizing the creativity and aggression that made him so special in Europe and Yugoslavia. All in all, this rounded out to a 7.6 points per game effort, shooting 46% from deep and 49% from the field. When his minutes only increased to 16.6 per game in his second season and decreased to a dismal 7.4 minutes per game to start the 1990-91 season, Petrovic had had enough. With confidence and anger still burning within him, Dražen erupted, stating, "I have nothing to say to Edelman anymore," and vice versa. 18 months have passed by. Too long. I have to leave to prove how much I am worth. Never in my life did I sit on the bench, and I don't intend to do that in Portland. He pushed for a trade and had it granted, with the Trailblazers sending him to the New Jersey Nets halfway through the 1990-91 season. Here, he was finally utilized correctly. He played 20.5 minutes per game throughout the rest of the 1990-91 season, averaging 12.5 points per game. This worked out as one of the best points per minute ratios, suggesting bigger things would be on the way with more playing time in the 91-92 season. In what was his first full season as a regular starter in the NBA, Petrovic slotted home 20.6 points per game in by far the highest playing time of his career, at 36.9 minutes per game. This came from an impressive 50% shooting percentage from the field and 44% from deep, which was the second best in the NBA. Petrovic's trademark sharpshooting ability was superb to watch, particularly with an NBA environment in which three-point shooting was not as popular as it is today. The days of him being dismissed as just another European bench warmer were long gone. Dražen Petrovic was an entertainer and a damn good basketball player. His efforts not only helped the Nets secure their best record in 7 seasons, but also earned them a playoff berth, where the Euro legend proved he could deliver when the lights were at their brightest. In round 1, game 1 versus the Cavaliers, Petrovic fired home 40 points. Unfortunately, the fairy tale story didn't extend beyond that round, with the Cavs ultimately winning in 4 games. Still, there was plenty to be excited about for this rising European star and his New Jersey Nets. They had found a gem and transformed the prospects of their organization as a result. In taking a risk on Dražen, they'd been awarded with a fearless, strong, and efficient shooter. They also found a player with a confident and infectious attitude that teammates could rally around. I mean, who does this to Michael Jordan, for goodness sake?
And he was going at Jordan like, yo, it ain't nothing. Like, give me the ball, I'm hot. I'm taking him.
Right away, Petro sending a little bit of a message. Let's go after Jordan. Here's Petro. A couple of steps beyond for Stroke City.
That's what I knew. I said, yo, he's arrived.
This fearless and talented Dražen Petrovic helped the Nets improve again in the 1992-93 season. Their 43-39 record marked their first winning season since 1984-85, with Petrovic also improving to post a career-high 22.3 points per game. Once again, he was money from the field, shooting 52%, in addition to converting 45% from deep and 87% from the free throw line. For his efforts, Dražen was named to the All-NBA third team, and, once again, earned a playoff berth for his team. Unfortunately, the playoff journey finished after just one round again, but there was little doubt that Petrovic was a rising star in the league with an incredibly bright future ahead of him. It wasn't just the quality of his shooting, it was the confidence he played with. He was a fan favorite, for sure, and represented a new wave of NBA talent from overseas. As Harvey Araton of the New York Times said, Dražen was the first guy to carry himself like a star. It was his body language on the floor. He was the earliest reflection of what was happening, and what the American-born stars were going to have to face in the future. And boy, did those American-born stars understand just how dangerous Dražen Petrovic was. For example, it's not often you hear Michael Jordan speak like this about a fellow player. I always had respect for Dražen Petrovic because he always came at me aggressively in our duels. he wasn't afraid. Every shot, every move, every contact. If I warned him that I'd score a few points on him, he would respond in kind. He was an aggressive competitor, but he wasn't the type of guy ready for a fight. He gave it all back through the game. It's a shame that our duels didn't last longer. And on the topic of Jordan, the sheer number of these players who would take a duel with MJ or Steph Curry over Dražen is shocking.
Never seen nothing like it before. I'd rather guard Black Jesus, Michael Jordan,
really?
than guard that motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was for me in that motherfucker. This motherfucker used to give me buckets. I used to be so frustrated. I couldn't stop this motherfucker.
I followed every game. Every game we'd have a Dražen watch. See what he did against, everybody in the league.
He dropped 30 on me so fast that night, and I'm telling you, I got a hand in his face. I'm right up on him, and he was just like a machine.
Reggie Miller told me one time he really loved playing against Petrovic because he could talk trash in 4 languages.
He had like 40 on Jordan, and he was going at Jordan like, yo, it ain't nothing. Like, give me the ball, I'm hot. I'm taking him.
He was confident no matter what shot he took. He was like, just kick it to me for 3, DC. Kick it to me.
The fact of the matter is, Dražen Petrović was special, a rare breed who played differently than everyone else. Similar to how Steph Curry revolutionized basketball with his three-point shooting in the 2010s, Dražen was on a similar trajectory in the 1990s. But then, everything changed. In the summer of 1993, Dražen Petrović was killed instantly when his car collided with a truck in rainy conditions en route to an international game in Germany, tragically ending one of the most remarkable careers in sports. Dražen Petrović changed the perception of what a European basketball player could offer an NBA franchise. He stunned the league and more than held his own, dominating some of the biggest names the sport has ever seen and setting up what should have been a historical and monumental career. Instead, basketball tragically lost one of its most influential players, but his legacy hasn't been forgotten. The Nets immediately retired his number 3 jersey to honor Petrović, and he was posthumously inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, a well-deserved honor for a superstar the sport lost much too soon. Thanks for watching. Drop your memories of the great Dražen Petrović in the comments below.